Maya sat in front of the mirror, looking at herself carefully. She smiled softly but nervously. Today was a big day for her. She was going on a blind date. This was not just any date, it was her chance to meet someone who could see beyond her appearance, someone who could like her for who she really was. Maya was a kind and gentle person. She loved reading books, listening to music, and helping others whenever she could. But many times, people only saw her size. She was a little overweight, and sometimes, that made her feel invisible in a crowded room. She had tried many times to find love, but often, people looked away or said hurtful things. Her best friend, Nina, had arranged this blind date. "He is a good man," Nina had said. "He likes kind people, and I think you'll get along well." Maya wanted to believe it. She put on her favorite blue dress, one that made her feel pretty and confident. She brushed her hair carefully and smiled again, trying to hold on to hope. The cafe where they were meeting was small but warm. There were lights hanging from the ceiling that gave the room a golden glow. Soft music played in the background, and the smell of fresh coffee filled the air. Maya arrived early, her hands slightly shaking. She chose a table by the window so she could see the street outside while waiting. As she sat down, she looked at the people around her. There were couples talking softly, friends laughing, and a few people working on their laptops. Maya tried to keep her nerves calm. "This is just a meeting," she told herself. "It's okay if it doesn't work out." But deep inside, she wanted this to be different. Then she saw him walk through the door. He was tall and well dressed, with a friendly smile. Maya's heart beat faster. He looked around, spotted her, and walked over. "Hi, Maya. I'm Daniel," he said, sitting down across from her. His voice was polite but a little distant. "Hi, Daniel." "Nice to meet you," Maya replied, trying to sound confident. They ordered coffee, and for a few minutes, they talked about simple things: the weather, their jobs, and favorite movies. Maya smiled and laughed softly, hoping to find some connection. But she noticed something strange. Daniel's eyes often glanced at her body instead of her face. It made her uncomfortable. She told herself not to think about it. Maybe he was shy or nervous too. But then, as the conversation went on, Daniel's smile faded a little. His voice became colder. After a short pause, Daniel said, "Maya, I want to be honest. I think you're a nice person, but I don't think this will work." Maya blinked. "Why?" she asked quietly. Daniel looked away for a moment, then said, "It's just. I'm sorry, but you're too fat for me. I don't think I can be with someone like you." The words hit Maya like a cold wind. She felt her chest tighten and a heavy sadness fill her heart. She wanted to say something, to explain, to fight back, but she only nodded slowly. "I understand," she said softly, standing up from her chair. Her eyes filled with tears she tried to hide. Without another word, Maya walked toward the door. Her steps were slow and heavy. She pushed open the door and stepped outside into the cool air. The sounds of the busy street were loud, but inside her, there was a quiet sadness. Maya found a small bench near the cafe and sat down. She took a deep breath, trying to calm herself. "Why do people think this way?" she whispered to the empty street. "Why can't they see who I am?" Tears slipped down her cheeks. For a moment, she felt alone, really alone. But then she remembered something her mother had told her many times: "Your worth is not in your size, Maya. It is in your heart." Slowly, Maya wiped her tears. She looked up at the sky, which was beginning to turn pink with the setting sun. She felt a small spark of hope still glowing inside her. Maybe today was painful, but it was not the end. Maya sat on the bench for a while, thinking about her dreams. She wanted to be loved for who she was, not just how she looked. She wanted someone who would laugh with her, share her stories, and hold her hand through hard times. As the cafe lights started to twinkle on, Maya stood up and took a deep breath. She walked back toward the street, feeling a little stronger. The world could be harsh, but she was still here, still ready to try. At the same time, inside the cafe, a man sitting nearby had watched everything quietly. He was not part of Maya's story yet, but he noticed her strength even in that moment of pain. And in that small cafe, two lives were about to cross paths in a way neither expected. After Maya walked out of the cafe, her mind was full of confusion and pain. She felt like her heart had broken into many small pieces. Every step she took on the busy street seemed heavier than the last. She wished she could disappear, but she also knew she had to face the world, no matter how hard it was. Maya found a quiet corner near a park bench and sat down. The sounds of children playing and birds singing mixed with the distant noise of cars and people talking. But inside her, everything was silent and dark. The words Daniel had said kept echoing in her head, "You're too fat for me." She hated how those words made her feel so small and unwanted. She touched her face, trying to hold back tears, but they came anyway. Why did he say that? She whispered to herself. What did I do wrong? Maya had spent many nights wondering if she was too much or not enough. Today, she thought she might find an answer, but instead, she found more pain. At that moment, a soft voice broke through her sadness. "Are you okay?" asked a woman sitting on the other side of the bench. She was middle-aged, with kind eyes and a gentle smile. Maya looked up and saw the woman was watching her with concern. She nodded slowly, trying to smile, but it was hard. "I'm fine," she said quietly. The woman didn't push her. Sometimes, the world can be very unfair. "But you are stronger than you think," she said softly. "Don't let one bad moment change how you see yourself." Maya felt a little warmth from those words. She thanked the woman, and for the first time, she let herself breathe deeply. The pain was still there, but it was not as sharp as before. After a few minutes, Maya stood up. She knew she could not stay on the bench forever. She had to keep moving forward. As she walked slowly back toward the cafe, she thought about all the times she had been rejected or ignored. Each time had left a mark, but she had also learned something: she could survive. She could find happiness on her own terms. Back inside the cafe, Daniel was finishing his coffee. He looked around, but Maya was gone. He didn't feel proud of what he had said. Maybe he was too quick to judge. But instead of feeling sorry, he told himself it was just how he felt. Still, a small voice inside made him wonder if he had lost something important. At the next table sat Tom, a man who worked as the CEO of a large company. Tom was a quiet man, often lost in his thoughts. Today, he had come to the cafe for a break, hoping to enjoy a few minutes of peace. But what he heard caught his attention. When Daniel said the hurtful words, Tom stopped what he was doing. He looked toward Maya and saw the sadness on her face. He saw her stand up and leave without a word. That moment stayed with him. Tom was not the type of man who cared about how people looked. He believed in kindness and respect. Seeing someone treated unfairly made him uncomfortable. He wondered if he should do something, but he was not sure what. He took a deep breath and decided to finish his coffee quickly. Maybe, just maybe, he would find a chance to talk to Maya. Outside, Maya walked slowly down the street. Her mind was still heavy, but a small part of her wanted to believe in something better. She thought about all the dreams she had, finding love, being happy, and feeling accepted. Could those dreams really come true? As she passed a small park, she stopped to look at the flowers blooming near a fountain. The colors were bright and alive, and for a moment, Maya felt a little like those flowers, beautiful and growing, even after storms. Suddenly, her phone buzzed. It was a message from Nina, her best friend. "How did it go? Are you okay?" the message read. Maya smiled softly and typed back, "It was hard, but I'm still here. Thank you for believing in me." After sending the message, Maya felt a little stronger. She knew she had a long way to go, but she wasn't alone. She had friends who cared, and maybe, just maybe, she would find someone who could see the real her. As Maya turned the corner, she didn't notice Tom waiting quietly nearby. He watched her with gentle eyes and made a decision. He would find a way to talk to her. He wanted her to know that not everyone judged by appearances. Tom took a step forward, ready to follow her, but then he stopped. He didn't want to scare her or seem strange. He decided to wait for the right moment. Inside the cafe, Daniel was already gone, and the atmosphere felt a little different now. People were still talking softly, but Tom's mind was focused on one thing: finding Maya again and showing her kindness. Outside, Maya continued to walk, her heart slowly healing from the pain of the harsh words. She knew that today was only one small part of her story, and she was ready to write the next chapter with hope. The sun was setting, painting the sky with warm colors. It was the end of a difficult day, but also the beginning of something new. And somewhere close by, Tom was waiting, ready to be part of Maya's story. Maya walked slowly along the quiet street, her thoughts heavy like a thick cloud. The hurt from the blind date still stayed deep inside her heart. She tried to ignore it, but every step reminded her of Daniel's cold words. "You're too fat for me." Those words repeated again and again, like a broken record playing in her mind. She stopped at a small park bench and sat down, looking up at the sky. The sun was almost gone, leaving behind soft colors of orange and pink. The evening was calm, but Maya's heart was restless. She felt a deep loneliness, even though there were people all around her. Maya had faced many moments like this before. Sometimes, when she was young, children had laughed at her in school. When she got older, some people avoided her or treated her like she was invisible. She had tried to change herself to fit in, but no matter what she did, the pain never fully disappeared. She remembered a time when she had wanted to try a new dress. It was pretty and colorful, but when she wore it to a party, some people whispered behind her back. Maya heard them say, "Why would she wear that? She doesn't look good." Those words had hurt deeply, but she didn't say anything. She just left the party early. Now, at this moment, sitting on the bench, she felt the weight of all those memories crashing down on her. She wanted to cry, but she also wanted to be strong. She took a deep breath and reminded herself of something important. "I am more than what they see," Maya thought. "I am kind, I am smart, and I have a good heart. I deserve respect." But even with those thoughts, Maya felt tired. She wondered why the world was so quick to judge people by how they looked. Why was it so hard to find someone who could look past the outside and see the person inside? Her phone buzzed again. It was another message from Nina. "I'm here for you, Maya. Always." Maya smiled faintly. Nina was the one person who never made her feel small. She was kind, loyal, and she always reminded Maya of her worth. Maya decided to call her. "Hi, Nina," Maya said softly when her friend answered. "Hey, how are you?" "I heard what happened," Nina replied gently. "Are you okay?" Maya sighed. "Not really. It hurt a lot. But I'm trying to stay strong." "You are strong, Maya. Don't forget that. One person's opinion doesn't define you," Nina said. "You have so much to offer the world." Maya felt a little better after talking with Nina. Her friend's words were like a warm hug. After the call, Maya stood up and started walking again. She passed the cafe where the date had taken place. The memories felt heavy, but she didn't want to run away from them anymore. She wanted to face them, to move forward. As she walked, she thought about her dreams. She dreamed of a life where she felt confident and happy. A life where she could share her love and kindness with others without fear of being judged. She dreamed of finding someone who would see her heart first, who would laugh with her, and stand by her side no matter what. But most of all, Maya dreamed of loving herself fully, no matter what anyone else said. Her steps became firmer. She was not going to let one painful moment stop her from believing in herself. At the same time, inside the cafe, Tom sat quietly at his table. He was thinking about Maya. The way she had carried herself, even after being hurt, showed something special. Tom had seen many people in his life, but Maya's courage and kindness had touched him in a way he didn't expect. He wanted to know her story, to be part of it. He stood up and walked toward the counter to pay for his coffee. As he did, he thought about what he could say to Maya if he had the chance. But he was also careful. He didn't want to scare her or make her feel uncomfortable. Outside, Maya was still walking. The city lights were turning on one by one, creating a soft glow. She felt a quiet strength growing inside her. Suddenly, she stopped near a small bookstore. The window was full of colorful books, and the warm light inside made it look like a little safe place in the cold night. Maya smiled softly. Books were one of her favorite things. They took her to different worlds and gave her hope. She decided to go inside. The bell above the door rang softly as she entered. The smell of paper and ink welcomed her like an old friend. The shop was quiet, except for the soft sound of pages turning. Maya walked slowly between the shelves, her fingers touching the spines of books. She found a small bench near the back and sat down. She opened a book and started reading. For a while, the outside world and its pain disappeared. Maya was lost in the story, and her heart felt lighter. As she read, she thought about the future. She didn't know what it would bring, but she knew one thing for sure: she would never stop believing in herself. She would keep fighting for happiness, no matter what anyone said. Outside the bookstore, Tom was walking slowly, hoping to see Maya again. He looked toward the door, hoping she would come out soon. When Maya finally stepped outside, the night was deep and quiet. Tom smiled gently and took a small step forward, ready to say hello. Maya looked up and saw him. For a moment, she felt surprised but not afraid. "Hi," Tom said softly. "I hope I'm not bothering you, but I wanted to say, I'm sorry you had a hard time tonight." Maya looked into his kind eyes and nodded. "Thank you," she said quietly. Tom smiled. I don't think you should ever feel less than who you are. You are strong, and you deserve kindness. Maya felt something warm inside. For the first time today, she felt truly seen. Would you like to sit and talk for a while? Tom asked gently. Maya hesitated for a moment, then smiled. I would like that. They walked back to the bench near the park, sitting side by side under the stars. And in that quiet moment, a new chapter began, one filled with hope, friendship, and the promise of something beautiful. Maya sat on the park bench, feeling the cool night air gently touch her face. The stars twinkled above, and the quiet sounds of the city filled the space around her. Next to her, Tom sat quietly, watching her with kind eyes. Neither spoke at first. It was as if both of them understood that sometimes, words were not needed. After a moment, Tom finally broke the silence. You seem like a very strong person, he said softly. Maya smiled faintly but didn't say anything. She looked down at her hands, twisting her fingers together. Tom continued, I know tonight was difficult for you. I saw what happened at the cafe. It wasn't right. Maya felt her heart beat faster. It was strange to hear someone speak about her pain with such honesty. Usually, people looked away or pretended not to notice. I didn't expect anyone to say anything, Maya whispered. Tom shook his head. I couldn't just sit there and watch. It's important to stand up for kindness, even in small ways. Maya nodded slowly. She felt a mix of emotions: sadness, relief, and a small spark of hope. For a while, they just sat together, sharing the quiet night. Then Maya took a deep breath and said, I've been through many moments like this before. People judge me by how I look. They don't see who I really am. Tom listened carefully. That must be very hard. It is, Maya admitted. Sometimes, it makes me want to hide. But I don't want to anymore. Tom smiled warmly. That's a brave choice. To keep going even when it's difficult. Maya looked up at him and felt something she hadn't felt in a long time: comfort. They began talking softly about their lives. Maya told Tom about her love for books and how stories helped her escape to better places. She shared her dreams of finding someone who could love her just as she was. Tom shared a little about himself too. He spoke about his work as a CEO and how it sometimes made him feel alone, despite being surrounded by many people. I've learned that success isn't just about money or power, Tom said. It's about kindness and connection. People who see you for who you really are. Maya nodded. That's exactly what I want. As they talked, Maya felt a lightness inside her chest. It was like a small seed of hope growing, ready to bloom. The night grew colder, and they decided to walk back toward the cafe. Tom offered to walk Maya home, and she accepted. As they walked side by side, the city lights created a soft glow around them. Maya felt grateful for this unexpected moment: a stranger who became a friend, someone who saw her worth. Before reaching Maya's building, Tom stopped and said, I'd like to see you again, Maya. Maybe we could have coffee sometime. Maya smiled, a real smile this time. I'd like that. They exchanged numbers and said good night. Maya watched as Tom walked away, feeling a warmth that had not been there before. Inside her apartment, Maya sat by the window, looking out at the city lights. She thought about the evening, the pain she had felt and the kindness she had found. It was a night of endings and beginnings. The next morning, Maya woke up with a new feeling, a quiet confidence she hadn't known before. She remembered her mother's words, your worth is in your heart. She decided to spend the day doing things she loved. She read her favorite book, cooked a meal she enjoyed, and called Nina to talk and laugh. The small moments made her feel whole again. Meanwhile, Tom went to work with a different energy. He thought about Maya and their conversation. It was rare to meet someone who touched his heart so deeply. Throughout the day, he found himself smiling at small things: a kind word from a colleague, the sunlight through the office window, the memory of Maya's gentle voice. In the days that followed, Maya and Tom kept in touch. Their messages were full of warmth and understanding. They shared stories, dreams, and hopes. Maya found herself looking forward to their talks. She felt seen and valued in a way she never had before. One afternoon, Tom surprised Maya by inviting her to a local park for a picnic. It was a simple plan, but it felt special. They spent the afternoon laughing and sharing food, surrounded by the beauty of blooming flowers and singing birds. Tom told Maya how much he admired her strength and kindness. Maya listened and felt her heart swell with happiness. For the first time, she allowed herself to believe that maybe, just maybe, love was possible. But even as hope grew, Maya knew she had to be careful. The world could still be harsh, and she didn't want to get hurt again. Still, she decided to take a chance to open her heart slowly, with trust and patience. Because sometimes, the greatest stories begin when we find someone who sees us for who we really are. And for Maya and Tom, this was just the beginning of a beautiful journey. Days passed, and Maya's life began to change in small but beautiful ways. After the painful night at the cafe, she had found a new friend in Tom, someone who saw her true self and valued her kindness and strength. It was a fresh start, and Maya was ready to embrace it. Every day, Maya and Tom talked more. Their messages were full of warmth, laughter, and honesty. They shared their favorite books, music, and dreams. For Maya, it felt like a light had been turned on inside her heart. One morning, Tom sent a message that made Maya smile. "Would you like to meet for breakfast tomorrow? There's a small place I know, cozy and quiet." Maya thought for a moment and replied, "I'd love that." The next day, Maya dressed carefully, choosing a soft yellow dress that made her feel happy. Her heart was full of nervous excitement. She was not just meeting a new friend, she was stepping into something new, something hopeful. When Maya arrived at the cafe, Tom was already waiting. He stood up when he saw her, greeting her with a warm smile that made her cheeks glow. "Good morning, Maya," Tom said kindly. "You look wonderful." "Thank you, Tom," Maya replied softly, feeling a flutter in her chest. They sat down and ordered breakfast. The small cafe was quiet, with sunlight streaming through the windows. The smell of fresh bread and coffee filled the air. As they talked, Maya felt more comfortable than she had in a long time. Tom listened carefully, never interrupting, always kind. He asked questions that showed he cared, and he shared parts of his life with honesty. Maya told him about her love for helping others, how she dreamed of working in a place where she could make a difference. Tom smiled and said, "I believe you will do great things. You have the heart for it." The morning passed quickly, but it felt like the start of something important. Maya realized she didn't have to hide or be afraid anymore. She could be herself, and that was enough. After breakfast, they decided to walk through a nearby park. The trees were green and full of life, and the fresh air made Maya feel lighter. As they walked, Maya shared some of the hard moments from her past, times when people had judged her because of her size or said hurtful things. Tom listened with patience and kindness. "I'm sorry you had to go through that," he said softly. "But I'm glad you didn't give up on yourself. Maya smiled. It's not always easy, but I'm learning to love who I am. Tom looked at her with admiration. That's the most important thing. For the first time in a long time, Maya felt hope blooming inside her. Maybe she could find happiness not just with someone else, but also with herself. Days turned into weeks, and Maya and Tom grew closer. They shared more moments, quiet talks, walks, and laughter. Tom showed Maya a world where kindness and respect came first. One afternoon, Tom invited Maya to his office. It was a tall building with big windows and a beautiful view of the city. Maya felt a little nervous but also excited. Tom introduced her to some of his colleagues, who greeted her warmly. "I want you to meet some friends," Tom said. "You deserve to be surrounded by people who care." Maya felt touched. She had often felt alone, but now she saw a different world, one filled with acceptance and friendship. After the visit, they went out for dinner at a small restaurant. The evening was calm and peaceful. As they talked, Tom took Maya's hand gently in his. "Maya," he said quietly, "I want you to know that you are special. Not because of how you look, but because of who you are." Maya looked into his eyes and saw truth there. She felt her heart open a little more. "Thank you, Tom," she said softly. "You make me feel like I can be myself." Tom smiled. "That's how it should be." That night, Maya went home feeling a warmth she had never known before. For the first time, she believed that love could be gentle, kind, and real. She knew there would still be hard days ahead, but she was ready to face them. Because now, she had someone who believed in her, and more importantly, she believed in herself. Maya looked at herself in the mirror before going to bed. She smiled at the reflection looking back. "I am worthy of love," she whispered. And with that simple truth, a new chapter of Maya's life began, one filled with hope, courage, and the promise of happiness. Maya's life was changing in ways she had never expected. With Tom's kindness and support, she felt more confident and hopeful than ever before. But even as happiness began to bloom in her heart, shadows from her past still lingered. One day, while Maya was walking through the busy market, she saw a group of people gathered around a small stall. Curious, she moved closer. She didn't expect to hear the cruel whispers that followed her as she passed by. "Look at her," one voice said. "She's still too big." Another voice laughed quietly. "Who would want to be with someone like that?" Maya's heart sank. The words hit her like cold rain. She tried to ignore them, but the pain was sharp and real. For a moment, she felt like running away, hiding from the world again. But then she remembered Tom's words, how she was strong and worthy of love. Taking a deep breath, Maya kept walking, her head held high. Later that evening, she told Tom about what had happened. "I'm sorry you had to hear those things," Tom said softly. "People can be cruel, but their words don't define you." Maya nodded. "I know. But sometimes it's hard not to believe them." Tom took her hand gently. "I'm here for you. Always." Maya felt comforted by his presence. She realized that while the world could be harsh, she didn't have to face it alone. Still, the hurt stayed with her, a quiet shadow she couldn't ignore. The next few days were difficult. Maya found herself thinking about the hurtful words and wondering if she was strong enough to keep going. One afternoon, Nina came to visit. Seeing Maya's sadness, she sat down beside her and said, "You are one of the strongest people I know. Don't let anyone make you feel less." Maya smiled weakly. "Thank you, Nina. I'm trying." Together, they made a plan. Maya would focus on her happiness, her dreams, and the people who truly cared for her. Slowly, Maya began to find joy again. She spent time with friends, worked on her projects, and allowed herself to dream. Tom was by her side through it all. He never judged or rushed her. Instead, he offered patience and kindness, reminding her every day of her worth. One evening, as they walked in the park, Tom stopped and looked at Maya. "You are more beautiful than you know," he said quietly. "Not because of how you look, but because of your heart." Maya felt tears in her eyes. "Thank you for seeing me." Tom smiled. "I see the real you. And I always will." In that moment, Maya felt a peace she had never known. The shadows from her past didn't disappear, but they no longer controlled her. She was learning to love herself fully and deeply. As the weeks passed, Maya and Tom's bond grew stronger. They shared dreams, hopes, and fears. They celebrated small victories and comforted each other during hard times. Maya found herself opening up more than she ever had before. She trusted Tom with her heart. One day, Tom surprised Maya with a visit to a community center where she had always wanted to volunteer. "This is a place where you can shine," Tom said warmly. "Helping others will make you even stronger." Maya's eyes filled with tears of happiness. For the first time, she saw a future filled with purpose and love. Together, they walked inside, ready to begin a new journey, one where Maya's heart would lead the way. Despite the challenges, Maya knew she was not alone. With Tom and her friends by her side, she could face anything. Her story was no longer about pain or rejection. It was about hope, courage, and the power of kindness. And most of all, it was about learning to love herself just as she was. Months had passed since that painful night at the cafe. Maya had changed. Not because she tried to fit anyone's idea of beauty, but because she had learned to love herself deeply. She had found strength in kindness, hope in friendship, and courage in her own heart. Tom was no longer just a stranger or a friend. He had become a part of Maya's life, someone who saw her true self and loved her for who she was. Their bond was built on trust, respect, and understanding, the kind of love that many only dream of. One sunny afternoon, Maya and Tom decided to visit a small charity event organized by the community center where Maya had started volunteering. The center was full of people from all walks of life, smiling faces, and hopeful hearts. As Maya walked through the crowd, she felt a quiet joy inside. She was helping others, sharing her kindness, and making a difference. It was a feeling that made her glow from within. Tom stood by her side, proud and happy to see the woman she was becoming. "Maya," he said softly, "you inspire me every day. Your strength and kindness change the world around you." Maya smiled, feeling tears of happiness in her eyes. "Thank you, Tom. You helped me see myself in a new light." They moved to a small stage where the event organizers invited Maya to share her story. Nervous but brave, Maya stepped forward and looked at the crowd. She spoke honestly about the struggles she had faced, the pain of rejection, the hurtful words, and the long journey to self-love. "But," she said, her voice steady, "I learned that our worth is not in how we look, but in who we are inside. We all deserve kindness, respect, and love." The audience listened quietly, moved by her words. After she finished, many people came to thank her for sharing her story. Among them was a young girl who looked shy and nervous. She smiled and said, "Your story gave me hope. I've been afraid to be myself, but you showed me it's okay." Maya's heart swelled with warmth. She realized that by being brave, she was helping others be brave too. After the event, Tom took Maya's hand and led her to a quiet spot in the garden. "Maya," he said, "I have something I want to ask you." Maya looked at him with wide eyes, her heart beating fast. Tom knelt down on one knee and took a small box from his pocket. Inside was a simple ring that sparkled softly in the sunlight. "Maya, will you marry me?" Tears filled Maya's eyes. She had never dreamed this moment would come, but now that it was here, she felt the answer deep inside her heart. "Yes," she whispered, her voice full of love. "Yes, I will." Tom smiled and slipped the ring onto her finger. They embraced, surrounded by the soft glow of the afternoon sun. In that moment, Maya knew that real love was not about appearances or judgments. It was about acceptance, kindness, and the light that shines within each of us. Her journey had been difficult, but it led her to a place of peace and happiness. She had found love not by changing who she was but by embracing herself fully. And as Maya and Tom looked toward their future together, they knew that no matter what challenges came their way, they would face them hand in hand, with hearts full of hope and courage. Maya smiled, feeling stronger than ever before. She was ready for the new chapter of her life, one filled with love, joy, and endless possibilities. Because sometimes, the most beautiful stories begin when we learn to love ourselves and let others see the light that shines within.